Let's test how much of a difference having a scoring blade on a track saw makes when cutting two different types of materials that usually chip a lot. The first one being melamine, and the second one is a board with a profile cut into it, which is an area which usually causes a lot of chipping. For the first cut, I'm going to switch off the scoring blade so that only the main blade is cutting. Now this is a brand new blade, so it's very sharp, but if you look really closely right down here, you can see on the inside of the cut that it's a very clean cut with only a few tiny spots where maybe there's some little bit of chipping. But on the outside of the blade, where the track wasn't pressing down on the top of the material, you can see that there's some chips like this that came off the material. And here I've tried to zoom in that kind of show the smaller ones here on the left and the bigger ones here on the right. And now I'll turn the scoring blade on and we'll move it back over and do a cut right beside the first one to see the difference. Now let's see how it did. And you can see right here on the first cut, this is where those two chips were and the few chips along the left side. And now look at both sides of the cut on this second one. They're completely clean with no chips at all on either side. And let me try zoom in closer to show you. You can see the chips along the left side there. Oh, it's hard to hold this steady. And on the right side, perfect and clean. Okay, and now let's try it with this material that has these grooves cut into it. And now the reason that this stuff, or any textured material, is harder to cut is because of how this stuff is down below the track. When you have a material that's flat and the track saw on top come and press down on it, then when the blade is spinning and it comes to rip up to the bottom of the wood, this track and the weight of the saw is holding the material down, which prevents the tear out. But when you have these grooves or areas that are down below the track, when the blade is coming through and it doesn't have the track holding it down, those are the areas that you have a really high probability of tear out. And this is where the scoring blade should really shine. Okay, and then the same test as the first time. We're going to turn the scoring blade off and make one cut, then make a second one with the scoring blade and compare the cuts. Okay, and then you can see here on the flat spot, it's a little bit cleaner, but there is some chipping on both sides of the blade. And then as expected, down in this groove where the track wasn't holding it down, you can see that there's a little bit bigger chips coming off. Okay, and then as you can see, quite a difference on the second cut with the scoring blade. Up here, we had a little bit of chip out on this top surface, and here we have none. And down in this groove, we had some larger chip out. And once again here we have none, and it's a super clean cut. So for certain types of materials that you'll be cutting that have a really high probability of tear out and you want a really perfect clean cut, the track saw with the scoring blade will definitely help with that.